Hey, Dave Friedman here. Thanks again for checking in on our blog here where I share all my best tools and resources. And what I wanted to share with you today is how I added 30 deals on top of what I did in my first year, 30 deals in my second year by changing one thing in my business. I still do it today, and it's still my highest return on investment. So it's my raving fan club, it's my database marketing. And so my first year in business, I didn't sell homes to anybody that were in my sphere of influence. Second year, I added 30 deals that were my sphere of influence. So it's the most simple thing that you can do in your business, and you are missing out if you're not doing this right now. So I did a Google Hangout a couple years ago with a guy named Frank, and he asked me a ton of questions about it. So I have the recording, and I'm going to, patch you into that so that way you can watch it.
So why don't you just tell everybody kind of, just to get to know you a little better, why you got into real estate. It was roughly in 2005 you got into real estate, and kind of where you're at today to be on track to realistically, and I hammered you on this, like you really, really realistically can track and project to do 1.25 million in GCI this year. So in 5 minutes, why don't you tell us your whole professional story of getting into real estate and kind of where you're at today?
Sure, absolutely. It stemmed from a little bit before 2005. My family's been in real estate forever. They've been land developers, realtors, and builders for 3 generations. So I knew that I wanted to get into real estate at a young age. I went out and I got my real estate license between the summer between college and high school in 1999. And I really didn't do anything with it. I just had it, and I sold maybe a few homes through college, and it helped pay for college and such. But right after college, I went out and got a job for one of the country's biggest home builders, and they were a great company to work for. I ended up transferring from Detroit, Michigan, where I grew up, down to Charleston, South Carolina, with the company in 2008. And I remained there for a few years until I decided I wanted to get out of that and get into general brokerage. And so I made the transition from selling new construction homes to general brokerage. And I had a good sales background regarding the sales process and understanding people and that type of thing. But outside of that, when you're working new construction sales, you're in an office and you rely on the builder's marketing to drive traffic to your door. Your job at that point is to convert that traffic into a buyer. So yeah, in 2013, I think it was February 2013, I got into general brokerage at that point. And so that's my story.
So you got general brokerage, and you went to what's comfortable was, I need some buyer leads showing up that want to buy a house versus,
absolutely,
which is what you did. So 2013, you got a general brokerage. Who's your broker?
I went to Remax, and I've since moved over to Keller Williams about a year ago.
Okay.
And so yeah, went to Remax, and the first thing that I needed to do was get some leads. So I bought a it's called Conversion. It's a buyer lead platform that just serves me as many leads as I can pay for. So I developed a budget for the platform and for marketing at $2,000 a month. Okay. Ran with it for $2,000 a month. So 24 grand a year, and I ended up selling about 34 homes to buyers that year that came through Conversion. And it was just a ton of work. Follow the buyer internet lead that everyone knows is a very, very low conversion, and it's a painful process. If you're good at it, you can convert anywhere from 1.5%, maybe up to 3%. I've heard some people converting that. But you're just chasing a lot of people and keeping in touch with 100 people to hopefully sell homes to 1 to 3 of them.
So if you sold, let's say it's a 1% conversion you were at, you sold what, 30 houses you said to buyers?
34.
34. So you had to follow up with over 3,400 cold internet leads to roughly sell 34 houses?
Absolutely. I called up every single one of them within 5 minutes of them coming through and followed up with them 6-7 times. And so it was a ton of phone calls, a ton of rejection. And a lot of people are trying to move to Charleston to retire, and they want to come to the city. So we get a lot of people that end up on the website that are just thinking about it, have never been here, or not sincerely interested in buying over the next 5 years, and a lot of conversations that didn't really lead to anything.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. You know, you're working the buyer leads on the phone all the time, trying to follow up with them. Then you go show a house, and they don't make a decision. But
Right.
you still got a good ROI on that though. Out of the 24,000 you spent on just straight buyer leads, you know, you made how much in your first year?
I closed 8 million
Okay.
in volume. So I made about 270 grand. And yeah, I had a strong, my ROI was about 10 times, which is where you want it, you know. So I had a little bit of expenses here and there for the office and a few other things. But as far as my marketing ROI, it was 10 times, and I was happy with that.
You're at this point, you're working all these buyer leads. What happened? What switched to the next step? What was the next phase? What was the pain point to, you know, maybe what was the next thing?
I mean, the next thing was just me looking at other people around me and listening to other agents and groups of agents that were in, you know, Facebook groups and such. And everybody's all about working their database in their sphere, and people that they're Mets and they're non-Mets and haven't Mets. And I didn't have a system for that. I had one system, and it was crush buyer leads, and that was it. And I became great at it. I probably am one of the best at buyer lead conversion, but, you know, I wouldn't recommend taking that route. You know, I think that there's a better way to develop business. I think it's good for one peer. So I decided to figure out what some other people are doing with their sphere of influence and their database.
But why database? Because this is such a key decision that you made, because a lot of times someone's like, you know what, I usually see two types of people. You have the people that only want to work cold leads online, and then you have people that only want to work their sphere. And that's a very unique shift that you made from talking to strangers every day to going to, oh, I should probably talk to the people that I know. Was that difficult for you? Like, were you thinking of other ways you should go other than database as the next step, as the next pillar in addition to your buyer leads?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a million things to spend money on in real estate to become successful. And, you know, we all know that a lot of them are a waste of money. And, you know, the shiny objects can be a big distraction in your business and never come to fruition. But, you know, I just knew that other agents were building their entire business based on the people that they knew. And from what I gathered is it's just a lot easier to work with people that already know you instead of trying to gain the trust of people that don't know you. And everybody knows 6-7 realtors out there. And so being that guy that was making a cold call and trying to connect with people and trying to earn their business and provide value was a lot more difficult than just talking to the people that I already knew. And I had zero system set up for my sphere and my database. I didn't even really have much of a database that I knew of, and I was sitting on it. I just didn't know it. And I literally didn't even have business cards until about July 2014. And so, you know, I was literally a secret agent. Like no one that I knew that I was a realtor, any kind of, you know, person in the real estate business. I just came into the office every day, crushed it with people that didn't know me. And I just wanted to increase the conversion of the amount of people I had to talk to earn the business for my clients. And it just seemed like my database was the first place to go to before I moved on.
Marketing hang on. I want to talk about what you're doing to build your list. I want to talk about what you're doing for your videos to send out. I want to talk about how you're following up with the people watching them. And apparently we haven't even been doing that. We'll talk about what we should be doing there. But let's talk about building your list. So like, how many people do you talk to a week? How are you getting new emails to feed into your database to add to that existing export that we originally got?
Sure, absolutely. It's you know, any opportunity that we have to gain somebody's email address and number, we do that. We go for it. We know we talk to a tremendous amount of people between expired phone calls and FSBO phone calls and buyer lead phone calls and so on that we just make an effort to tell people. We send out informational videos that cover what's going on in the market, the changes that are going on, and some variety of topics. And I think our next video is going to be something about how to handle multiple offer situations for buyers and sellers. And then we also do just market updates where we share statistics about if the market's growing or not and how many homes are selling per month and such. But yeah, so we focus a lot on that. But, you know, I think that on a daily basis, it's an effort to put together as many contacts into the database. And every time I talk to people, I just try to share value with the content that we have and encourage them to give me their email address so I can keep them updated with what's
So how many people would you say you talk to in a week, and how many of those people give you their email address?
As a team, we now have an ISA making phone calls and 2 buyer agents, myself, and we're connecting with, a few hundred people a week, at least a few hundred people. Yeah, as far as connection.
Talking to like an actual contact, a few hundred a week?
Yeah, right. We make a lot of phone calls. We're, that's part of it.
To talk to a couple hundred people a week.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, between all of us, we're talking about 300 a week, and we just make an effort to connect with those people. And
who are you calling?
We're calling Zillow leads. We're calling conversion leads. We're calling expireds. We're calling FSBOs, and now we're calling our database, which we just started doing too.
Good.
Yeah.
So out of those 300 people you speak to a week, how many give you an email address, or at least say, go ahead and send me your videos? Maybe you already had it on file, but you're reconnecting on like how many opt-in permission-based emails are you getting a week to add to your list?
Some of the leads come through with email addresses, and between that and the people that actually give them to us, if we don't have their email address, like an expired lead, for example, we're probably getting about 200 to 220 emails a week. I'm sorry, no.
Whoa.
We're 200 to 220 a month.
Okay, I was like, that's a week. That seems very high. So 220 a month.
220 a month for buyer leads, and then our expireds, we probably get about 8 expireds a day, and we probably get about 2 email addresses a day from expired leads. And then when we're out and about in the town, if we happen to meet somebody or connect with somebody on a personal level, we'll just try to add them to the database. And me personally, I don't know what my team does, but me personally, I probably add about 2 to 3 people a day. The only other thing I was attempting to do recently, just an effort to put more people into our database, is doing some book lead generation, which I don't think converts at a high level when it comes to buyer and seller Facebook lead generation, but it's fairly cheap, and we get people's contact information when they connect with my Facebook page and myself on Facebook. And from there, we're able to get their email addresses and continue to add them. And I don't know how successful it's going to be. We just started doing this, and hopefully, I think anything that will contribute, especially at a low cost, to building that database is going to be extremely helpful.
What percentage of your business comes from your database marketing, and where does the rest come from?
Sure, absolutely. So year to date, 52% of my business, 2015 year to date, for pending and closed homes comes from database, and 48% come from either buyer leads, or so just simply internet buyer leads, or expireds. And so go ahead.
So you're going to do 1.25 million in GCI in Charleston off of buyer leads, database, and expireds.
Yeah, absolutely. So year to date, we're 44 closed and pending, and 23 of those are from my database, and 21 of those are from either expired or buyer, simply just buyer leads, internet buyer leads.
So I want to go a little deeper into this. So now we're kind of, we talked about building the list. We talked about the videos going out, but this just sounds too good to be true. This is why you're on this hangout. Okay. So you're telling me that we rounded up all these random emails. You started hitting them with 2 videos a month, and people are just magically calling you saying, come list my house. There has to be more to the story than this. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Well, we're not following our numbers could be so much better with our data. And the reason I say that is because, in 2014, I closed 60 homes, and it was split perfectly down the middle, 50-50, where 30 of them came from my database and 30 of them came from mostly internet buyer leads. And then there were a few expireds. I started prospecting expireds about halfway through the year. And anyway, I am not calling any of the people that open the emaals or click on the links, which is probably one of the most.
Or the people that click on links say, I'm interested in buying or selling a home. You're not calling those people.
No, I haven't called them at all, which is something that you should do. And so I've recently hired an ISA. She started with me back in middle of January. So she's calling expireds for me. And she's also
going to call the open and click reports of the people.
Yeah.
Buyer leads? Are these unconverted buyer leads replying back? Are these like friends and family? Like who's just getting your videos and saying, come do business with me? Who is it?
I moved here in 2008. I have no family here. I moved here not knowing a single person. And so I'm fairly new to the area. And outside of that, yeah, some friends have bought homes with me, but last year I had 30 deals for my database, and I think out of those 30 deals, there were maybe 3 or 4 friends that ended up buying with me.
So they're the buyer leads. A lot of them are the long-term buyer leads that you've been working that came in from conversion back in the day.
Yeah, that and people that I try to connect with every single person on Facebook that I can, and also with LinkedIn. So
that's how you pull their email address. When you friend them up on Facebook, you friend them up on LinkedIn, we just pull on their email address that way using those little tricks.
Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't say they're all buyers, but all from the buyer lead, internet leads. But
I would say they're acquaintances. They obviously know who you are. You kind of have this internet presence, and they just know of you and they hire you.
Oh, totally, absolutely.
You have already closed or pended this year 2/3 of your production from last year. Is this attributed to the conversion of previous leads from your lead generation, or is it from the increased attention on your database? Excellent and well-worded question, Henry. Kudos to you. You spent some time writing that one.
Thanks.
Do you get the question? I think we kind of dived into this. Is it coming from, is this coming from buyer leads converting with you, or is it coming from just? I'll have you answer the question again, but I think I know what the answer is.
Well, I started. It's not my database is not just the buyer leads that I've collected. Again, when I'm out and I just meet people, I try to get their email address and set them up on our viral campaign. So there's a lot of those people that I've maybe met one time, or expired sellers. I talked to a lot of expired sellers at the last half or last quarter of last year. And I was able to gain a ton of emails by doing that. And just staying in front of those people is so important. And so, it was just a combination of me continually adding to my database and staying in front of people and just being that top of mind person when they think of when it comes to buying or selling a home. And it's not I went through and I literally did not call a single person that opened an email that we sent out last year, and they all just came to me. And it's not rocket scientist. It's not rocket science at all. It's pretty simple, and I can't believe how simple it is and how foolish I was not to do it in 2013.
That's incredible. Yeah. So to answer the question, I think, certainly you're getting some of that long-term conversion from your buyer leads that were pent up sitting there in your conversion database. But also you're out talking to lots of people. You're out there talking to expired. You're out there talking and connecting with people online, and people are friending you up, and you accept their friendship. So you connect with them on LinkedIn, you connect with them on Facebook, and then when you do that, you now have access to their email address and you pull them into the viral marketing database. I love that.
Yeah,
so
it's a long
every connection, every friend request, and you're pulling them in. You're getting their email and pulling them in your database for the 2 videos a month.
Yeah, and it's a long-term nurturing plan. I mean, that's all it is just being the expert and staying in front of people and not discriminating against who you send this out to. We just closed a home with the magical seller email. We just closed a home with somebody that works for one of the home inspection companies here locally, and we don't even really use that home inspection company a majority of the time, but somehow they ended up in our database and they were receiving emails and they reached out to me, and we ended up selling their home, listing it, and closing it. And so a lot of these people, I can't even tell you where some of these people came from. I could probably source it back to, maybe Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. But I mean, there's a lot of these people, these names that I don't even recall. I look through my email communication. I've never emailed with them, never talked to them, but I think they just view me as the expert and they just come to me when they need something.
Yeah. So we'll move on to another question here from Jay, which is excellent. But what it is your mindset went from cold buyer leads, and then you widened it to a lot more sources of way to meet people and brought all those people on the one list. That's basically, I can summarize from what you said there. But let's talk about, I like this one. How do you stay clear of anti-spam regulations? That's probably one for me answered, but do you have a take on that one, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is. I mean, I don't go out and buy big lists to send, information to, so I don't know if that's something that we're not supposed to do. But the people I'm talking to, I'm just telling them that I will set them up on on some updates. And aside from the LinkedIn folks I've connected with and Facebook, I don't know how that aligns with what we've done, but most of the people have given me agreement to send them information.
Yeah, so you're talking to people, and obviously that's a verbal opt-in, right?
Right.
What they're probably mentioning is like the buyer leads, because they're really only opting in for property updates, not to receive your videos. And then also, us pulling all these email addresses of all these, people that have been sitting in your database for 20 years, start hitting you with videos over again. How is that not spamming, right? Well, the whole idea behind spamming is sending people stuff they don't want, and you want to make it very easy to unsubscribe. So first off, all of these emails are loaded into a professional email marketing software. We use Vertical Response, verticalresponse.com, and that puts the opt-out, the unsubscribe at the bottom. It puts all the canned spam regulations on the email when you send to these professional servers, okay? So that's the first thing. But also, before we start sending out the 2 videos a month, you always want to send out, Gene, what's called a reconnect message. And it's funny because I just wrote a brand new one up on our website, getviral.com. I want to share it with you. And Dave, this is good for you to know that if you ever have some new lists, let's say you found some email like AOL Instant Messenger from back in the day, you figure out a way to get those emails, you want to stay in touch with those people. Here's the reconnect message that I'd probably recommend you send out, okay? So Dave, work with me here. Can you see this okay on my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
You see the smiling picture of Scott here?
Yeah.
All right. So like I said here, let me keep scrolling down. Let me read that to you. Here's the subject line. So let's say you have all these emails. Here's what you send them. The subject line is reconnecting. Hey, it's Dave. I wanted to reach out by email to reconnect and ask your permission to stay in touch. I have your email here, or I see we're connected on social media. So that's why I'm writing you briefly today. As you know, I sell real estate in Charleston, and there's a lot happening in our market when it comes to your home value. I like to keep you updated every 2 weeks with a quick educational video tip and Charleston market update, something you'll find very useful and informative on local topics. I certainly do not want to spam you. And if you don't want to hear from me, no problem. Just unsubscribe at the bottom of this email and you won't get any more emails from me. Any questions I can answer for you in my first video, just reply back and let me know. If I can ever be of service helping you, or you know someone who wants to buy or sell a home, I'm here to help. Look forward to staying in better touch. Jay Reed asks, do you do any traditional farming at all?
No. Not farming as I understand is sending out some kind of mailers or some kind of like tangible content to a specific neighborhood. I don't do any of that. I've recently, about 3 months ago, I've only done it once. For Thanksgiving, I sent out postcards to about 350 people in my database, offering to give them a Thanksgiving pie. So it was just a free gesture. And then I did something again like that to about 350 people for Valentine's Day. And so I didn't hit the whole database with it. It was just the people that I've categorized as people that have done business with me or have referred me business or likely to refer me business.
How are we measuring return on investment of that money spent?
That's really, so the only thing I'm spending on my database is Top Producer as a place to really keep my database. I'm setting people up on market snapshots in Top Producer, and if I have an address for them. I've recently sent out postcards, as I just mentioned, to the database or to a select amount of people in the database. And then with Viral. So my marketing expenses it's not much. I think it's between $525 with Viral, and I'm probably paying about $150 for Top Producer. And those postcards cost me $700 total between the two of them.
So you're at about $1,400 a month.
Right. Yeah.
So you're spending so it's $700 a month on the postcards?
No. I've only sent postcards out twice in about 6 months. And so that was $700 total for those.
Yeah, so it's just another $100. So you're probably in $700 a month.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about $700 a month.
So if you spend $700 a month, now there's probably a lag time when it comes back to you. But roughly, if you spend $700, how much are you getting back from your database in GCI?
I added up the 44 closed and pending that I have this year so far. 23 were from my database. That's 52%. It represents about 165,000 in GCI. And my spend on that was $2,375. So it was a 70 times return.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty good. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So keep doing more of that. Keep growing that list. And what's nice is that no matter how big you grow your list, your cost doesn't go up outside of maybe some postcards.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a website? Let's give your website here again in a second. And if so, have your videos impacted any response from your website? I think he's believing SEO, maybe a search benefit or something like that.
I have. I've seen a huge benefit from it, as a matter of fact. And so the website is Dave Friedman TV. I have that website, and the only other website that I have is my clickcharlestonsc.com, which is my conversion buyer lead generation website. And so those are the only two that I use. And anytime I try to drive traffic somewhere, I drive it to the davefriedmantv.com website that Frank built out for me. And they manage that whole thing. Anytime there's an update that I need made to it, they totally take care of it for me.
Give us a call. No extra charge.
Yeah. And so to answer your question specifically, yeah, I've never had people just call me and say, I found you on the internet. And I never had that happen in 2013. I didn't have that happen for a lot of 2014, but I'd say over the last 4 or 5 months, we've had 5-6 transactions where people were just Googling some kind of keyword phrases and trying to find a realtor and came across my website. So if you Google, if you try to Google, great realtor in Charleston or so, I bubble to the top sometimes, and people have found me that way. And I've literally pinpointed it because I'm very, very anal about finding out where my business is coming from, so I can measure my rate of return or return on investment. And so people have literally told me I just simply did a Google search and your website came up, and we liked what we saw on there, and you looked like you knew what was going on with the market, and we called you and hired you. And those are the best because they come to you, they call you, and there's no competition. You walk in there, you get the listing, and it didn't cost very much either.
I was ready to sign with the conversion. Do you still recommend this as a way to feed the database along with Facebook and LinkedIn? Great question, Jay.
Say that one more time. I didn't understand the first.
Jay Reed was about to ready to sign up for conversion. Do you still recommend this as a way to feed the database along with connecting with people on Facebook and LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. When I brought up doing some very inexpensive lead generation through Facebook in an effort to try to capture leads, I drive all that traffic to the one of Conversion's squeeze pages that I've made. And so they put their information in Conversion, and then about once a month, I just export all my Conversion contacts and then sort out the duplicates and put them into Top Producer, and then Viral takes them from Top Producer and updates their database that they have for me. So yes, I do. And I just use Conversion really to help me capture name, numbers, and emails. Not just through pay-per-click, but also through simply just trying to drive people there to put their contact info in.
Hey, I hope all those details were helpful. And again, if you need a calendar of the things that we send out, just let me know. And again, if you are looking to hit your goals in 2017 and you don't think it's going to happen, or you fell short of them in 2016, let me know. I can help you get there on our real estate team. We're looking for 4 agents in the next quarter to join our team. We're looking for people that want to make $150,000, $250,000 a year, and we can show you the way. Thanks a lot.